What is up, fam, and welcome to my channel. It is your favorite natural nurse queen. My name is Kironi. For those of you who are new here, I talk about natural hair, I talk about nursing. Those are my two main subjects. Sometimes I dabble in a little vlogging. If you end up liking this video, share with a friend, subscribe, join the family. We'd love to have you in the clan. If you've been here before, as usual, you know I appreciate your loyalty. So for those of you who have been here, I've been talking about my journey of nursing, being in nursing school, accelerated nursing programs, what the whole experience was like for me. I made a part 1 to my NICU nurse video, and I was interrupted by something that I'll talk about more in this video, but this is my part 2 to my NICU nurse video. So if you're interested about being a NICU nurse, what that whole experience of after grad was like for me, continue watching. Okay, first off, really quick, let's get into the tea. Okay, so if you are a nurse right now, if you are a traveling nurse, if you are a I get money during the panoramic pandemic nurse right now, you know about Crucial Staffing. If you don't know about Crucial Staffing, they're basically a staffing agency, and they're sending nurses all around the United States to be nurses in places that are being affected by the pandemic, COVID-19, and they're getting paid bank for it. Okay, not gonna get into it here because they don't pay me enough to talk about them. They also didn't take me, so I'm a little salty. Anyway, so I was interrupted by the other video because they had let out a post saying that their lines were open, and if you wanted to travel with them, to call in. They have like thousands and thousands of people that call in at one time, so once they let out their post, the faster you get on the phone, the faster you get through. Unfortunately for my NICU nurses up there, they're not taking us, right? They want ICU, but not neonatal, so that was a big bust. Anyways, let's get into this video. I just want to finish talking about kind of my experience. I have my notes right here because I don't want to get off topic. I don't want to waste your time. I want to give you good quality things you need to know. Okay, let's talk about the process of just getting a job and practically what that looks like. I don't know about you guys, but my program had us create a portfolio. In our profile, you know what? I have it here with me because I just got a new job. One second. This is my portfolio. In this portfolio, I have my resume, I have my ACLS, my BLS, my NRP, any of my certifications that I've gotten. I have projects that I've done in school, okay? I have a piece of paper, so when I go to the interview, I can write things down. I have a pen in there, okay? Have a pen when you go to your interview, okay? They're gonna like that. Get your portfolio. Put everything in there that you need, that you think they're gonna need, that you think they're gonna ask you, that they think they're gonna want you to have, whatever you think they're gonna wanna see, put that all in the portfolio, okay? I had 3 sets of interviews. I had a phone interview, and that was with like HR, asking like stupid basic questions like, what is a bad quality about yourself? What makes you great? Those stupid questions that nobody likes to answer, that you have to do like weird stuff to answer it in loopholes, like make yourself seem bad but good at the same time. Those weird questions, that's what they asked on the phone. Very short, not really relevant. My second interview, this is where you want to shine, okay? This was with the nurse manager. You want to do good on this interview, okay? Because if she offers you another interview, it doesn't matter who's at the interview. You got the job. If she doesn't, well, there's that. That interview wasn't too bad. I mean, she asked me a couple more personal questions, more about like, what are my nursing goals? Why did I become a nurse? What sparked me to want to work at that hospital? That's the type of questions that came up in that interview. My third interview was with my peers, my coworkers, or my soon-to-be coworkers, or my expecting coworkers. We're speaking it into existence. Those gonna be your coworkers, girl. Those were or boy, okay? Those were the people who were in that interview. And they were asking me questions like, what happens if I'm supposed to come to work tonight and I don't, so now you have to stay? That was literally the first question that I got asked, and she said it exactly like that too. And this person ended up being my my preceptor. Love her to death, but I was like, yo, is she crazy? And I was like, I mean, I would stay. What am I gonna do, go home? And she started laughing. Listen, it was a beginning of a beautiful relationship. I was a top pick out of all the people that interviewed in my class. I mean, that's what they told me, but hey, they could have been lying. I don't really know. So that's kind of how the process went, and all the interview process and all that stuff. After that, I obviously got, or I don't even know if I said this before, but I got offered my job in February. I graduated in May, so it was just downtime, playtime, finish school, do what you gotta do until I started school, okay? Another thing that I really wanted to talk about is work-life balance, and I feel like there is just not enough talk about this. Work-life balance, okay? Your whole life, if this is your first time in school, second time in school, if you've never had a full-time job, your whole life has been centered around you and what you want and what you want to do. You wake up when you want, alarm clocks don't exist, you do what you want, right? When you have a full-time job, especially if you're moving on your own or you're paying bills. There is so much responsibility. Your work-life balance is so important, and it changes drastically, okay? You're prepared for it. I'm gonna tell you that. You're prepared for it. But it is definitely something that you have to think about and plan for and really have a shift of mindset. When I first became a nurse, and I think one of like the biggest places where I start to see my work-life balance really affect my life was in my relationship. I was in a long-distance relationship, and I worked overnight. So I was gonna say, and we were on a different time clock. I mean, we were, but it was only an hour difference. But because I worked that night, it felt like we were living in two completely different time zones. And like, I feel like, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but like my jobs before this, like, I used to be at work like texting all, doing everything. When I started nursing, bro, from the second I clocked in to the second I clocked out, I was tuned into what I was doing. I had no time to like text or anything. And I would literally go like days without speaking to my boyfriend, or days without speaking to my family, and that stuff starts to really, if you're someone who has a really big support system, you like to see your friends, you like to speak to your family, you like to drop by for dinner at your neighbor's house, stuff like that, that stuff is all gonna change, you know? Like, you have to start centering your everyday around your job, which, I mean, kind of sucks. I hate to say it like that because capitalism, but you have to start being smart about your schedule and like planning things accordingly. So before you start work, like, really enjoy your time, enjoy your downtime, and when you do start work, figure out ways for self-care. Figure out, on my 4 days off, my first day was always, I need to do a face mask, I need to do my hair, I need to do a bath, I need to do something that makes me happy, something that feeds my spirit. I need to light some candles, something, because it hits you, and it hits you hard, bro. Adulting is not a game. It's not rocket science either, but it's a transition. Like any transition, you gotta prepare yourself as much as you can and take the punches and roll with it and learn along the way. With that being said, I used to schedule everything that I was going to do. I mean, when I say I scheduled everything, I used to write when I was washing my hair in my calendar. I used to write down everything in my calendar. If you want me to do, if you want me to be there, if it's taking up time, it's going in my calendar, and I'm sticking to my calendar. One thing that I really appreciated about the place that I started working at was it was a self-schedule. So we made our schedule every, I'm pretty sure it was 8 weeks. We made our schedule, and it was like first come first serve. Like, that piece of paper would go up, you would go on there, you would scribble in your name where you want to work, and hopefully it would work out. Most of the times it works out. I think only once I had to change my date, but other than that, like, bro, I was where I wanted to be when I wanted to be there. Made everything that I needed to make, made weddings, made, you know, everything, everywhere I needed to go, birthdays. Like, I was there because I was allowed to schedule my own schedule. I think if you're someone who is very keen about the type of schedule you want to work, that's something that you could ask in an interview. Like, do you have self-scheduling or do you not? And when I went to my second job, the job I'm working now, trust me, that was on my list of questions to ask. And she was like, no, we don't do that because we tried that once and it created too many fights. Understandable. But now going in, I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to be at work whenever you want me to be there, you know? Let's talk about residency programs, okay? Now, I was in a residency program, and I wasn't in one of those residency programs where you have to apply to get into the program, and then once you get into the program, you have to apply to go into the specialty you want to go into, and hopefully you get in, and what if you don't, and all these things, and people get turned down, and you know, all that stuff. My residency program wasn't like that. My residency program was once you accepted a position, you were offered and you accepted a position after going through the interview process, they told you, you are now in our residency program. Everyone that didn't have more than 6 months of experience was going in our residency program. Whether you were new grad or not, you were going into the new grad residency program. What this entailed, okay? The residency program was a year, it was 12 months. Basically, you have to participate in everything in the residency program or they will fire you. It's kind of like connected to your job. So, can you break the residency? Yeah, I mean, I broke it because I quit the job. We met once a month with our residency program leader, and the point of the residency program was to create a research project which at the end would somehow help our unit in some type of way. Again, I didn't finish the residency program. It'll be finishing this May or June or August, or I don't even know, okay? COVID messed up everything. But you would meet once a month. In the beginning, it's kind of haha, hee hee, let's get to know each other, figure out what you're interested in, figure out, you know, how to do a research project. It's like research methods all over again, guys. It was excruciating. And then, you know, you would meet once a month, you would get your groups, and you would do your work. In the midst of all this, you would have to do certain tasks. So like one of our tasks was you have to spend a day in the ER, you have to spend a day with the chief nursing officer, like just like little things like that you have to do. And obviously, like, on your day off, like, it was mad annoying, I'm not even gonna lie. I will say, I think going into the work field, I'm like, oh my god, a residency is gonna look so good, wow. And I'm not gonna lie, like the more that I like apply for jobs and do interviews, I don't think people are really as like happy about residency as you think they would be. Like I have it on there and they're like, oh, like that's cool, but it's like they're mostly like, what is your experience and what do you know, what did you learn while you were at your last job? They're not really concerned about the residency, I have to say, but hey, that's just me, don't shoot the messenger. Let's talk shifts. So between days and nights, I think it's very important that you're cognizant about the shift that you can work and be realistic. I know people say, oh, new grads have to work nights, that's all they're gonna offer. I think that's somewhat true. Like I think most jobs expect you to work nights because I mean, for one, day's shift is just not open. Like everybody wants day shift, but also I think night shift is sometimes a little better for new grads and people that are learning. However, I don't think most people can, or I don't think a lot of people would appreciate night shift. Like I know, like for instance, I have a friend who is on medication and just working at night is just not good for her mental state. Some people have kids, their husband already works at night, so they have to work days, like, you know. So you just really got to figure out what's good for you, because I'm telling you, like working night shift is such a transition. It took me a while to really get used to being awake and staying awake for 12 hours overnight, especially at a job where your brain is constantly being used. You really got to be cognizant of what that really entails. Even if, you know, during your interview you're like, oh, what are some of the differences between working day shift and night shift? They'll tell you the differences. They'll tell you how the vibes are different. People know. So definitely be cognizant of that. I think definitely it took me a while to really figure out my sleep schedule. It was very hard for me to sleep. I've tried so many different things for sleeping and I finally found what works for me, which I'm going to talk about in another video. But honey, really be cognizant of that. And lastly, for the last part of this video, I just want to dabble in mental health because I know, okay, nursing school was traumatizing to me, to everyone that I speak to. Like, we're all traumatized. It doesn't matter if you did ADN, BSN, ABSN, like nursing school was hard, okay? And the transition into being a nurse is I don't think it's more challenging, but it's still like a hefty transition, like knowing, okay, like this is serious and these lives are in my hands. Losing a baby, yeah, because if you work in the NICU, babies are your patients, but like losing somebody, seeing your first dead body, like things like that, it's traumatizing. And I think some people take it better than others, but I say all that to say I started going to therapy, and that is something that I think has really helped, not only with nursing school, but just like life in general, mental health, all that stuff. I was in Kentucky with no family, so I had like other things that were playing into it, but I will say, like, just life in general, I think it's important for you to be your best self and your best nurse to your patient. It's important to take care of yourself first so that you can pour out. And I think therapy is a great way to just kind of feed your mind, feed your soul, and, you know, keep work at work, keep home at home, and just be in a healthy space mentally. Alright, you guys, if you stayed for this whole video, thank you so much for watching. Again, subscribe, share with a friend if you think this will be helpful. I have so many things that I want to share with you guys, so many things coming up. I'm going to be talking about my night shift routine, preparing for work, what I use to go to sleep. I'm going to be giving some tips, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Lay.